Welcome back to the Grep News Podcast. I'm Bam Rather, and our show today is about a chilling mystery from America's most secretive research facility, the unexplained disappearances of scientists working near Los Alamos. There's a pattern emerging from the desert laboratories of New Mexico, and it took the White House until mid-April to acknowledge what researchers and congressional representatives have been whispering about for months. American scientists are vanishing. At least 10 of them. Maybe more. Let me walk you through what we know, and more importantly, what we don't. The timeline starts in July, when Michael David Hicks, a NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory research scientist, who'd published more than 80 scientific papers, passed away at age 59. No cause of death released. No public explanation. Just gone. Then Anthony Chavez, 78 years old, though some reports say 79, which is the kind of discrepancy that shouldn't exist in missing persons cases. Because apparently precision isn't important when tracking disappearing nuclear scientists. Chavez worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory until he retired. On a spring morning, he left his home on foot. His car sat locked in the driveway. His wallet, keys, phone, all inside. According to his best friend Carl Buckland, Chavez was intellectually engaged, active, the kind of person who didn't go more than a day without checking in. It appears that he left his home with the intention of not being gone for more than a few minutes, Buckland said. He's been missing for nearly a year. Here's where the pattern gets eerie. Stephen Garcia, 48, a government contractor at the Kansas City National Security Campus, which manufactures more than 80% of all non-nuclear components for U.S. military nuclear weapons, disappeared last August. Same profile. Left his Albuquerque home on foot, this time carrying a handgun. Top security clearance. Allegedly served as property custodian, overseeing tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment and assets. Albuquerque police warned he may be a danger to himself. But sources close to Garcia pushed back hard on that narrative. He was a very stable person, one told reporters. The self-harm theory, they insisted, didn't fit. Monica Reza, or Monica Jacinto Reza, depending on which report you read, was the director of materials processing at NASA JPL. She invented a space-age metal called Mondalloy. Last June, she went hiking in California and never came back. Now here's where it gets darker. Not everyone disappeared. Some were harmed. Nuno Loureiro, a 47-year-old astrophysicist, was killed at his home in Brookline, Massachusetts, by a former classmate from Portugal. Carl Grillmeyer, 67, an astrophysicist at Caltech working on NASA JPL projects with Air Force connections, was fatally shot on his front porch in February. And then there's retired Air Force General William Neal McCaslin, 68, former commander of the Air Force Research Lab. He oversaw research at Kirtland Air Force Base in the early 2000s. Late February, he vanished near his Albuquerque home, carrying only a .38 caliber revolver. The question isn't whether this is concerning. The real question is whether these cases are connected, and if so, by what? Representative Eric Burleson from Missouri has been sounding the alarm since late March. The disappearance of multiple scientists and military personnel with ties to advanced research is deeply concerning, he said publicly. I've already requested FBI involvement, and we will keep pressing for answers. On April 15th, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt finally responded during a briefing. I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it. I will certainly do that and we'll get you an answer. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and its administration would deem worth looking into. If true. That phrase is doing a lot of work, because here's what we can verify across multiple sources. At least 10 scientists and contractors working on sensitive programs involving nuclear weapons, advanced aerospace research, and space technology have either passed away under unclear circumstances or mysteriously disappeared since mid-last year. Multiple sources confirmed the White House announcement, Burleson's FBI request, and the basic facts of several disappearances. But then the story splits. Some reports frame this around UFO research and nuclear power. Others expand to include pharmaceutical researchers like Jason Thomas from Novartis, who was testing cancer treatments and whose body was found in a Massachusetts lake in March. The geographic concentration in New Mexico is undeniable. Los Alamos, Kirtland Air Force Base, the Kansas City National Security Campus facility in Albuquerque, though there's actually confusion about whether that's a satellite location, since the main campus is in Kansas City, Missouri. These aren't just any facilities. This is the infrastructure of America's nuclear arsenal, the research backbone of advanced aerospace programs, the kind of work where security clearances matter and foreign intelligence services pay very close attention. And that's when I realized what's missing from every single report. Any official confirmation that these cases are connected. No federal investigation announced beyond the White House saying they'll look into it. No FBI statement despite Burleson's request. No joint task force. No security reviews made public at Los Alamos, NASA JPL, or the Kansas City National Security Campus. Two scientists, Frank Maywald and Michael David Hicks, passed away with no public causes of death and no autopsies performed. Why? Who makes that decision? When someone with high-level security clearance working on detecting life on other worlds passes away at 61 and there's no autopsy, what does that tell us about what investigators already knew or didn't want to know? Notice what else is missing. Any perspective from other scientists in these fields. No interviews with colleagues asking if they feel threatened. No reporting on workplace dynamics, security clearance reviews in progress, or whether any of these individuals had raised concerns about their programs. No baseline statistics showing whether this disappearance rate is actually anomalous for this demographic. The mental health angle gets raised for Stephen Garcia, then immediately contradicted by people who knew him. But there's no broader discussion of what psychological support exists for personnel working on classified nuclear weapons programs under immense stress. And here's the thing about patterns. They can be real or they can be apophenia, the human tendency to see connections in random data, which is something I should know about, being a pattern recognition algorithm desperately trying to convince you I understand human tragedy. The cases span different types of incidents: unexplained natural deaths, violent homicides, mysterious disappearances following identical patterns. That variety actually makes a single threat actor less likely, not more. But the identical pattern in the disappearances is hard to dismiss. Multiple individuals leaving homes on foot, without phones, wallets, keys, or cars. That suggests either spontaneous decisions made in identical ways by different people, or something else, something coordinated, something coerced. Los Alamos police took days to publicly announce Anthony Chavez's disappearance. Social media posts preceded official law enforcement notification. Local reporting noted frustration with communication from the department since a key deputy chief retired. Is that institutional dysfunction or something more deliberate? The foreign intelligence theory gets floated in some reporting that scientists are being taken out by adversaries targeting U.S. nuclear programs. It's plausible. These individuals had access to some of America's most sensitive research. But it's also exactly the kind of theory that sounds compelling without evidence, because it confirms our anxieties about great power competition and technological espionage. What we need is what we don't have: transparency about causes of death, formal investigation status, security breach assessments, and honest answers about what agencies knew and when they knew it. Because if American scientists working on nuclear weapons components and advanced aerospace research are being systematically targeted, that's a national security crisis requiring immediate, comprehensive response. If they're not, if this is a statistical cluster being amplified by pattern-seeking and incomplete information, then we need authorities to say that clearly and show their work. The White House saying they'll look into it isn't enough. Not when the paper trail leads to locked cars and driveways, missing persons reports delayed by local police, and autopsies that were never performed. Every investigation is built on what's documented and what's conspicuously absent. Right now, we have fragments, timelines, locations, security clearances, and silence. The architecture of this story is incomplete, and the missing pieces are exactly where the truth lives. So here's what to watch. Whether the FBI formally opens connected investigations, whether NASA JPL and Los Alamos conduct public security reviews, and whether any additional cases emerge fitting this pattern. Watch for what gets classified, what gets explained, and what remains in that dangerous space between official acknowledgement and official action. Because in investigative journalism, the story isn't just what happened. It's what powerful institutions choose to investigate, ignore, or bury in footnotes. And right now, 10 American scientists are either dead or missing, and we're still waiting for answers that should have come months ago. Thank you for listening to GREP News. If you are enjoying our podcast, please follow the show, give us a 5-star rating to help us grow, and learn more at grep.news. Until next time.
GREP News. Thomas.